Hey everyone, Salepi here, and this is going to be my Revenant killing guide. The screen shown provides annotations allowing you to skip to certain parts of the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Taking on high level revs can be a daunting task if you are low combat level, so I highly suggest you train your combat stats so at least these levels approximately. Now, in order to really efficiently kill revs, I highly suggest that you guys at least have 80 plus attack, 85 plus strength, 70 plus defense, 70 range, 70 or 95 prayer, 68 or 79 or 88 summoning, 80 dungeoneering, and 1 mil just to spend on supplies and gear that you might lose. So I will get into further detail on why you should have these stats, but for the most part, at least try and get to around these levels. Alright guys, so the best weapon used in killing Revenants are either the chaotic rapier or the chaotic maul, which requires 80 dungeoneering, 80 attack, and 200k tokens. If you don't have any of those requirements, then Abyssal Whip with a Dragon Defender will suffice, or you can even use a Dragon Scimitar if you only have 60 attack, or just don't want to risk that much into the wilderness. It is recommended that you remain a low risk profile when hunting revs, as it decreases your chances of being attacked by other players. The items listed on the screen provide a mix between magic defense and strength bonuses. I will explain a few items out of the list that I strongly encourage you to obtain for rev hunting. So the first item is the Salve Amulet Enchanted, which increases the user's strength and attack by 20% while fighting revs. It can be obtained after completing the Haunted Mine quest and the Lair of Tarn minigame. Now, Goliath Gloves is another awesome item I strongly recommend getting. These things destroy revs. They eat them for breakfast, basically. I've always seen, when I've been going rev hunting, people using these, higher level players using these, and they do enormous damage. They provide a plus 13 strength bonus, can be used for 4 hours of combat, and can randomly provide a special attack where it lowers the stats of revs by 7. So when you take inventory setup, you need to decide on what you need more than the other. For example, do you need more prayer potions or do you need more food to tank with? If you have SS, maybe bring more prayer potions as you can SS your health up. Or if you have piety, I would suggest bringing maybe a bit more food. A couple items can be interchanged. For example, if you want a better spec weapon, maybe bring some dragon claws instead of a DDS. Or if you have piety, bring enhanced Excalibur, as it does increase your health by 200 for every spec. A couple key items you should bring is, if you have one, a Holy Wrench, which does increase your prayer regain for every prayer potion dose you take, and a Through and Through Brace, which gives you a 30-second repel against any Revenant, and also makes all Revenants unaggressive towards you for 1 hour. If you have Dread Nips, which can be obtained by doing Dominion Tower, they are extremely useful in taking down the high level revs. You can also bring some Vengeance Runes if you feel the need that you're going to be fighting against another Rev Hunter or solo PKer, because it can make the difference between dying and actually winning the fight. Another also recommendation is bringing prayer renewal flasks, as they do decrease your prayer drain, which is awesome to have. And I will now suggest what familiars you should bring when going rev hunting. The 3 familiars I will suggest bringing to Revenants are the Bunyip, the Moss/Fire/Ice Giant, and the Unicorn Stallion. The Bunyip has a passive ability to increase the user's life points by 20 per 15 seconds. The Moss Giant, the Fire Giant, and the Ice Titan have a scroll which is called the Titan Constitution Scroll, which increases users' HP by 80, as well as increase their defense by 12.5%. And the Unicorn Stallion has a scroll ability which increases the user's HP by 15% of the total life points. The Unicorn Stallion also has another ability that when you use the scroll, it also cures you from any disease or poison, which is extremely useful when tackling on the Revenant Dragon. To get the revs, you need access to Through and Through Dungeon. To go there, you need to run north from Edgeville, so just climb over the wall and run north. Make sure you watch out for PKs, because you are entering into a high level wilderness, and many players both above and below you can attack. I've highlighted on the map a circle dot representing the multi-zone, so just watch out for teams or clans, or even summoning tanks with the familiars such as Steel Titans. As soon as you enter the Through and Through Dungeon, I've also highlighted in circle the single combat zones. This is a great place for you to rest, as you can only get attacked by one player, but still be careful. As you get your run energy back, run north past the Grey Demons, using protection from melee if you really want. You're now entering a multi-zone, just watch out again for PKs. After that, run through the North Hellhounds, and then you've entered the Revenants. Just have a bit of a scout out as soon as you get there. Make sure you know who's around you, what level they are, how many people. There's a couple of basic things you need to know when tackling Revenants. The first one is not to use any protection prayers against them. This is because they have the ability to change attack styles according to what prayer you actually use it against them. If, for example, you're using them protection from magic, then they'll change their attack style from magic to range, damaging you in the process. Their levels range from 7 to 135, 7 being the lowest of the imp, and 135 being the actual dragon. The levels aren't scaled to what RuneScape really is, so for example, 11.7 imp is about equivalent of a level 50. When below the half HP, they actually have the ability to heal themselves 1/10 of the total HP until they're above half health again. This process can be extremely frustrating, so it's best to quickly KO them as fast as possible if you have the chance. You don't need an anti-dragon shield when fighting the Revenant Dragon, but you do need anti-poison because it has the ability to actually do that to you. So guys, I'm going to tell you what you need to know about when hunting Revenants. So you just arrived here and you're checking out the scenery, you see there's another player here, and sometimes you can find worlds where there's just not many people. So in this, there's two sides to this. There's the east side, and there's the west side. Normally in a situation, one player goes on one side and camps the right side, and the other player sort of camps the left side. That's in a harmonious sort of, way where both players just want to hunt revs, and they want to PK each other, and they both sort of, I guess, call it respect the other person's space. So on the east side, which is this side, you got more of the harder level revs. You got the little 120 Dark Beast, which can do a lot of damage to you, and you got the dragon. So these two are probably the hardest monsters in revs, but they can drop the best loots. I will explain that later. And like this guy here, the only way you can really take him down efficiently is either have him turmoil and soul split, or have a chaotic weapon. The dragon normally people take on. I would recommend either use a 3-3 brace to repel yourself, either have a chaotic weapon, or have a unicorn to heal yourself from the poison. On the east side, there are basically low-level monsters such as the Eye Fiend, the Goblin, the Hellhound, the very low-level monsters that mainly a lot of accounts can take on. The advantages of having this is that there's a lot of revs here, but they are lower level, therefore there's less chance of getting a good loot. The hardest monster here is Revenant 9, who can actually hit you pretty hard. So the best way to do that is to actually combo them fast. So maybe use some Dread Nips against him. A chaotic weapon would be your best, but maybe have a two-man team to really take down this guy efficiently. Now about teleporting. You are level 30 Wilderness. That is the maximum level that your Ring of Wealth or Dragonstone's amulet, which is the Amulet of Glory, can tell you. So when you pass a border here, or line, horizontal line, which is, let me just find it, here, I can't teleport now. If I try and teleport, it will have a message saying you cannot teleport after level 30 Wilderness. So your best opportunity, if you see a couple of white dots come across here, your best opportunity is actually run south, put protection from quick pres on, which should be protect item, deflect melee, and turmoil, and try and Ring of Wealth it, or use a glory. If you do get TB'd, just run south to where you came from, try and aim for the single area combat, and try and get the hell out of there. If you find a guy that's attacking you, don't look for a fight. There's no point of fighting him, because you aren't geared for it. Especially a guy who's max combat with a chaotic maul and a yak, there's not much chance of you actually beating the guy. So either hot worlds or just try and find some other revs to attack. If you think you can take them on, go for it. But just make sure that they're not with a team. Make sure that they're not with revs. It's just like not with multiple players such as mages. If a mage does start attacking you, maybe try and get out of there. It depends on the scenario. If you are trying to log out, there's a couple places you can. One is here to try and find an open world. It is risky because it's multi, but normally this is the place I'd do it. Another place is if you go further west. So guys, I'm going to tell you a couple of tips now of what to do when you're tackling revs. The first thing to do is put auto retaliate off. And you might think to yourself, well, why? There's no much point to that. Well, there is. If, for example, a mage comes and starts to TBing you, and you're trying to run away, your auto retaliate will kick in and you'll start running towards him. Especially if there's a team there, you don't want that happening. So you want to just put auto retaliate off, and then straight away start running the opposite direction. So what you want to do is have a couple auras. One being the Revenants, which conserves prayer. Another one is Vampirism, if you've got Party, which is another awesome one. Knockout can be good sometimes, and I'm sure there's a couple others that might suit the occasion. So what I want to do is activate your aura. I'm not going to activate mine now, because it's just an example. Put Protect Item on if you're skeptical. If not, put Berserker Prayer, Turmoil, start potting up, and start attacking the revs. Put your Prayer Renewal on, put your 4/3 Brace on Repel, and you're good. If you don't have curses, then activate Party. And they're very easy. Majority of them you can just out-hit. If your health starts going down, so if I start tackling on maybe a Hellhound, which can do a bit of damage, you might want to use the Soul Split. The Soul Split can be very useful, and basically you can never use any food unless you're being attacked by a couple of players, I would assume. So I'll give you an example, guys, now. I'm going to start attacking the hardest monster in this section, which is the Knight. The reason why they haven't been doing damage to me is because my immunity to damage will expire in 20 seconds because of the Repel. So there's a good opportunity maybe to start attacking the high level monsters that you couldn't otherwise kill. So I'm going to use my Dread Nip on it, start attacking it. See, the Dread Nip helps, it binds them, it does extra damage, it can poison them. It's a very useful item to get, and you can do it by killing, I think, 400 bosses as well as doing some quests. You need to also be, I think, level 105 or 110 combat. So poison 108, and we just killed it. If you're doing your SS up, like this for example, what you want to do is SS flick, so as you're about to attack, just hit, and you should get some HP back. So for example, I'm going to hit the Imp, put SS on, hit the Imp, put it off, flick it back on. This not only heals you, but it will conserve some prayer, and that's what you want. You want to reduce your prayer drainage as best you can while being most efficient at killing revs. You want to also just keep an eye out for your mini-map. If you see a whole bunch of white dots charging in, be skeptical, run the opposite direction, or just teleport to be safe. There's no point getting killed over something that you could otherwise prevent yourself. If you are using Party, since you don't have SS flick, either keep an eye on your food, or maybe just keep an eye on your Ring of Wealth and just do this. If you see a whole bunch of groups of dots, especially if you see them skulled, you have ample opportunity to actually teleport away safely. If you do try and run away and you do get killed, just don't worry about it. It happens to all of us. There's no way that you can tank out a 5-man team. If you do, that's just dumb luck. Killing revs can receive a wide variety of drops. These things range from ancient artifacts that can range between 5k and the 5 mil price line, corrupt and non-corrupt PvP equipment. This is things like Zuriel's, Vesta, Statius, and Morrigan's, corrupt dragon equipment, and brawlers. Just be careful when you do get some corrupt equipment that you don't wear it, otherwise degrade and you won't be able to sell it. The ancient artifacts can be sold in Edgeville Bank by NPC there.